very well to Talkin Kop. It's me, Chris Brackett's him, Kev O'Sullivan. We're back, but we're not doing post-match. We're talking transfers, Kev. Two nights in a row, you and me. It's not good, this, is it?
Yeah, no, but in fairness, transfers are the fun bit. We get to shoot the shit for an hour and talk absolute gobbledygook, and nobody will believe a word of it because it's literally NTK 2.0.
Yeah.
We haven't got a clue what the hell's going on. So we're just literally got to talk about what has happened or hasn't.
We're basically Sky Sports News. Yeah, Sky Sports News. That's all it is. Yeah, so
Sky Sports News without a paycheck.
I know. I've got a yellowish jumper on, so I thought I'd get into the mood. Might get a transfer going, but yeah, I'll be honest, Kev. It's been quite an underwhelming January. Like it's just not a lot's happening. It's quite quiet. I know everyone loves a transfer. Look, let's not lie. It's always nice to have a shiny new player in your club, bit of freshness. I'd like Liverpool to do one, but when you're looking around rivals and across Europe, you're thinking there ain't masses getting done, and you wonder, as much as people joke about this FFP or whatever it's called now, sustainability factor, it does feel like in the Premier League it's having a bit of an impact because it sounds like clubs are being quite extra cautious now because they're waiting to find out if they're going to get close to FFP. I mean, there's an article about Newcastle which we'll talk about later, but let's start with Liverpool. So, there's absolutely nobody of any substance linked.
No.
We can do the whole. I could tell you everyone that's linked on Twitter and all the other silly accounts that we know are on there, but no one of substance has been linked with us. There's a slow bit of murmurings that you might start to hear a bit more stuff about Van Dijk and Trent's contract talk starting. Bit of talk with Salah's maybe looking at a contract talk starting. That's it. But in terms of outs, Carvalho's gone to Hull, which I think for him to have any opportunity of playing again for Liverpool, he needs a good 6 months there, really, doesn't he?
He does, and this will be the second player that we've got at Hull, with Tyler Morton having a good first half of the season, and Liam Rosenior he's getting rave reviews as a good young coach who plays good football, and Fabio Carvalho is exactly the type of player that should, in all theory, thrive in a Hull setup as long as he's mentally right for it. Because it's got to be a bit of a kick in the teeth for him. The fact that you've gone from Fulham to Liverpool to RB Leipzig, and then you're back where you started in the Championship, fighting to try and get into the promotion playoffs. So mentally, he's got to get over himself and get over that and put a shift in for the next 5 months. And he's got the talent. He's got the talent to have a very good career. I'm not convinced he's going to be a Liverpool player, but that's not to say that he can't go on to have a really good career for himself. You're looking at Dom Solanke now, Bournemouth. You're looking at Harry Wilson, Williams of Forest. There's plenty of players who've left the youth system, took a step down to come back up, and are having decent careers now. There's nothing to say that Fabio Carvalho can't do that, and it benefits us. We need to be able to profit from these players, because I'm convinced from day one that this is what he's going to be. He's going to be a player that we flip.
Yeah,
we get him in, we boost his transfer value in the hope of doing what Chelsea did for years and putting a 20 to 30 million pound sale on your transfer on your books as pure profit, so that you can go out then and invest that on a 50, 60 million pound player that you spread over 5 years.
Basically what City did with Cole Palmer. That's probably a big
reason
Cole Palmer got sold by City, because he was pure profit. The thing with him is, I do wonder if he's a bit of an opportunistic signing, as in like, that's a player that could be handy. I always wonder if he was bought for like a different style of play. And listen, last year we all know was a disaster with what we were left with, and I kind of feel like with the whole rebuild we did in the summer, they kind of went, actually, what club wants to go to now with this new midfield of this way of playing now? Carvalho doesn't really fit in that, because to me, he's not quick enough to play in the wing. like there's been the criticism of Elliott when he's played wide right is he's probably not quick enough. But Elliott's proven he's very effective as an 8. I don't see Carvalho being an 8. And I don't think he's... careful how I phrase this. He can play as a 10, but I think to play as a 10 what we want, like we let Elliott do it a couple of times, is I think he's a level below what we would accept for being a Champions League chasing, which is where we're aiming this year. Is we're top of the league. We're aiming to be a Champions League side next year. I just don't think he's quite at the level. You know.
Hey, look, we'll see how he gets on. How he gets on at Hull. I hope he has a good loan, because the little bits of Hull that I've seen this season, they're a good side to watch. They're one of these championship sides that play good football, and you know, if they're playing on a Friday night and there's nothing, I have no problem sitting down watching them, and they're an easy watch. So he should slot in there, and he should do.
He's also a side that is pushing for playoffs.
Yeah,
it's not like a side like Leicester who they've run away with the league. They're done. So Leicester are really planning for next year. So it made no sense in going there, because unless they're going to buy him in the summer to keep him for the Premier League, which I don't think would ever be the plan, what's the point? So, you know, he's in a side that's playing well, but also a side he needs to play well to keep them where they want to be, which is they want to be in the playoffs and go for that. The other one
that's where it goes to the mental side of it.
Yeah. But also, it's a side that will want to dominate the ball a lot, which is what Liverpool do. So, again, it's getting used to that sort of style of play.
It's a good goal.
The other player linked away with a potential to Wigan is Luke Chambers, who he hasn't really had a look in this year, but he's only a youngster. I would say if they're willing to let him go, that's part of the reason they brought Owen Beck back as emergency break glass cover. But we'd also say one or both Simicast and Robertson well, Pepperlinder said he was end of the month, but they may be one might be a little bit close now, because I don't think he'd let him go. He didn't think any of those senior left backs were back pretty sharpish.
I think the fact that you saw Beck come back from a loan, that he was playing really well, he was doing really well, and they didn't want to lose him, suggests to me that they have a plan for Chambers. He looked out of place when he was playing in the Europa League, and that's no disrespect to him. I mean, he looked like a fish out of water playing.
He looked like a kid playing in the men's game. Whereas, to be fair to Bradley, who played in a similar game, didn't have the greatest games in a much time. But Bradley last night looked like someone who's played in the Liverpool first team setup. He didn't look massively like a kid. He looked more like a Liverpool player. So maybe, like I said, maybe Chambers needs
Chambers is a kid.
You know what I mean? But maybe he needs a year of just needs like a year of men's football. Which Bradley got last year at Bolton and was really good at Bolton. So you know, it's probably a good move for him.
It's like a lot of these loans for the under-23s when they go out and loan. It's what they make of it. It's up to them. You know, if they buy into it 100% and make the most of it, then the doors can open up for them when they come back, because you never know what could happen. But I think he's 19? You know, he's 18, 19. He's only really young, you know, and it's a good place to play in Wigan. You're not going to, you know, it's a decent ground. They have a decent setup there. They're going to be playing a similar kind of way where they'll let the fullbacks go a bit, you know, and look, just wish the kid well. Hopefully he gets a good 5 months football, week in, week out, meaningful games that matter. It's not like playing join the dot football, the academy. So, you know, he's going to have to go out and do it again. You know, he did it up in Scotland, I think, and he was all right. And it's clear as day that he needs it. He needs to go and play. So, fingers crossed it does well for him. But it's like with us at the minute, it's academy players out on loan, academy players being recalled and sent elsewhere because they're not playing enough. It looks like maybe we could hopefully find a deal for Nat Phillips towards the end of the window, if there's a way of getting him a permanent move somewhere.
I think the way Klopp was talking is almost like Nat's here because we can't afford to let him go in case we get any more injuries. We'll see how the end of the window looks. It's almost like get us through January. As long as everyone comes back who we expect to come back, you can go again. If not, he's going to sit as 5th, 6th choice centre back.
Well, in fairness, we're paying him 60 grand a week for the privilege, so he can sit there.
Listen, I've seen the narrative where people say they feel sorry for him, and it's not fair. Ultimately, he's 26, 27. He signed those contracts, and if he he's clearly content with what he's being given, because if he wasn't, you'd have put a transfer request by now and said move at 26. I mean, to me, at 2027, you should be playing regular football somewhere.
Well, look, at the end of the day, look at the wages he's on. At the wages he's on, there's no one in their right mind going to match that. So everything is going to be a loan for him, or he's just going to be at the club, and that's just the way it is, Other than that, there's jack shit really going on. The usual Mbappe nonsense, but in general,
there's some
very, very quiet around Liverpool.
Very tentative links to again Michael Olise, which it's no one of any substance. And listen, don't get me wrong. If it was real, and said you're going to get Michael Olise, lovely. Michael Olise on the right being amazing. That's just.
Yeah, I think Michael Olise, that's a kind of deal. That's a summer deal.
Yeah,
that's a kind of a deal where you see where you are with your forwards at the end of the season, and you make assessments for the next 3 years of how you want the team to play. And then you might go and look at someone like him. Hopefully, I'd be amazed if he doesn't end up at PSG. I'll be shocked if he doesn't end up at PSG. Yeah, I think he's tailor made for that project and what they're doing, especially when if they lose Kylian Mbappe at the end of the summer, where they're going to free up an absolute wad of wages, then they're going to look to reinvest. And the way PSG are looking to do it at the minute is they're bringing in an awful lot of young players. They've gone away from the Galactico model to literally looking to invest in. They're looking to bring back young French players who went out of France at 18 to 21, 22 into other European clubs, be it in Germany and France, in the Netherlands, into England, and they're looking to bring them back. So it's that's how I think that will play out. But I think Palace know that he's going to be the goose that's going to lay the golden egg for them.
Yeah,
because he's going to be a big profit on their books, and that will help Crystal Palace rebuild massively over the next few years. I think
it'll be Elise will go this summer. I think Essie will go the following summer. I think that's their 2-year plan, which would be then Palace could do a complete rebuild.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's what Palace do though, is you sell them one big and rebuild. Brighton are the masters of it. Sell it all for massive money and then just go and buy another. They've just bought another lad from South America.
Well, I'm looking there now. The biggest deal so far to happen. Look, the last two days,
Spurs?
really.
Probably Spurs, isn't it? Spurs been busy.
Spurs
2 in, 2 out.
Spurs brought 2 in, 2 out, and the 2 out were desperately needed.
Yeah.
Especially Jed Spence. Jed Spence had to get out. Jed Spence was never going to get used, and they brought in Pedro Porro, and he looks like a proper player. So he's never going to get a game. But the guy they brought in from Genoa, Draghi's in £25 million plus add-ons and what have you for silverware and what have you. So his fee will be £25 million. Well, it's Spurs, isn't it? Let's be honest. I mean,
let's be honest. The lad that's leaving, Eric Dier, he's probably going to another Spurs player to leave and win a trophy.
I think I don't know anything about him apart from I did the dreaded YouTube thing, but I think he's a very clever signing for what Spurs need and where Spurs are at 25 million.
It's the market that Spurs probably should have gone in for a little while, which is 21 to 23, up and coming, what stars to be. Because then in 2-3 years' time, one of two things: either they elevate you to a level where you're winning trophies, or you flip them for a ridiculous fee to Man United or whatever, and then you reinvest that money again and go again. That's smart. That's a smart model, really. And then Dier's gone to Bayern for 6 months with an option of an extra year. I tell you, he's got some good, he's got some age. He's got some age in that fella.
Originally, I thought that this was a permanent deal. But as it is, it's a loan with an option to extend for a year. I think it's really good business for Bayern. For the way Bayern play and for what they need depth. They needed someone who can come in and play. And they need someone who can come in, play football, and free up the likes of your man Leon Goretzka. And they also know that there's a possibility that Joshua Kimmich could be on the way out in the summer. Plus, he's experienced. He's been around the block. You know, he's the manager knows it. And for the kind of money that's been talked about, I think it's win-win. You know, it's free hit. The worst case scenario for Eric Dier is it doesn't work. If it does work, Tuchel looks like an absolute genius. And he's going to go into a side that are going to be competing probably into the back end of the Champions League and definitely will be competing for a Bundesliga title. So,
well, if you're Eric Dier...
And he's a handy option off the bench, you know, if you need to rotate, if you need to rest players with 20 minutes to go and what have you, he's ideal for that.
But also, if it works well for Eric Dier, from his perspective, that could be his way of getting himself back into an England setup, which he was in up until a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
That's his way. That's his way back in, because he could play in a back. Yeah. He could play centre back in a back three, or he could play centre back in a back four. That's what he's done in his career, and he could have been an emergency DM. I've seen that Toka saying, Paulinho to Dier's chalk and cheese. I think it's different needs though, isn't it? Because hasn't Tuchel said because he can play in a back three and a back four, it frees up Goretzka, who I think is being asked to play deeper than they want him to. So I think it's more of a, well, if I bring Dier in, it allows you to free a better player where I want him. So, and
the other side of it is Paulinho is 60 million plus.
Yeah,
they're not going to pay it. So they'll revisit it in the summer if not Goretzka, but if Kimmich ends up at PSG or at Man City, which either is likely. I think it's more likely to be PSG, purely and simply because Mukiele is wanted. Bayern want Mukiele, so there's every chance that there's going to be a deal between the two. It's let's have a look at that. What's John saying there?
So John saying, lads, I know it's a transfer show, but I have to mention Klopp's man management last night. They say he sat next to Owen Beck. I think I've seen this video. I think, and he says, and he's talking through what is going on the pitch, class. So it's like, I saw it because I didn't recognize the kids. I don't know if it was Beck or if it might have been Bobby Clark, but it looked like he was having quite an instructive one to a player that wasn't coming on the pitch. So it's a good way of like making the player feel involved, but it's almost like saying, "This is where I need you to be. This is how I want you to play. So when you get your opportunity, this is the levels expected." You know, which is good man management, it's good coaching, but also it's making a youngster who's not coming on the pitch feel part of the group of this is what you're expected. You know, this is what I know you can do. Yeah, you've got to prove it when you get your chance. So that's what you need.
If he sat there talking through what Joe Gomez has been doing at left back to Owen Beck, it's brilliant. You know, and there's no and the thing is, you can guarantee that Klopp won't have the opportunity to sit down for 90 plus minutes with those players around him very often. It's very, very rare that he'll have 5 or 6 under 21s on the bench at any one time. That he'll be able to spend that much time with them in that kind of a situation. So fair. It's a really good show.
I found the video. I think it is Owen Beck.
Yeah.
It's 2-1 on the 70th off minute. So yeah, it looks to me like he's giving him a bit of a an intense coaching session. But listen,
I look at the Dier to Munich one. I think it's just a no-brainer. It's a good deal for Spurs as well because they needed to get 2 players out in order to bring 2 players in, and the second player they brought in, I'll ask you, Timo Werner. You know, I had my bit of a say on him last night. What do you think of this deal?
Squad depth. That's my honest answer. He's a squad depth pace option through the middle, because I think if Trevor Charles through the middle doesn't work. Werner has played through the middle, has done well in the past, but he barely played. I had a quick Google. He's 8 games this year, 1 goal.
Yeah.
Or
I
2
don't know
goals.
if it's injuries or...
That's what I mean. He's not played much, so they've got to get him up. For me, I think it's just a squad depth option just to get him through to the end of the season. I'd be amazed if he stays beyond that. I think it's just an option just to keep him there. He's another pace option, which suits Spurs' style of play, because they want to play with a lot of pace up front, for their sort of counter-attacking style. I don't know if the lad, since he played for us, has learned the offside rule, because I think he honestly, him and Nunes could have a proper battle for who can get offside the most, because that's all I can remember from Werner at Chelsea. He was always offside.
He's always offside, yeah.
But to be fair, so's Nunes. Just getting used to the league. But listen,
I'll be honest, I don't see how he fits.
I just shrugged when I saw him. I was like, oh, okay. It didn't. I don't think it's a terrible signing. I don't think it's amazing. It just sort of shrugged up. It's just an option. But what strike is he going to get? I can't think, what strike is he going to get this time in January, where you're not going to pay a fee for? There aren't many options, I wouldn't have thought.
But if that's the case, why aren't you looking at your 23s and looking to bring someone through rather than bringing in someone for 6 months to sit on the bench? And in fairness, they don't have Europe. I'm not sure what Spurs have got in the Cups or what they're doing in the FA Cup or whatever, but they don't have... I mean, you've got Richarlison, you've got Brennan Johnson, you've got Heung-min Son. And it's like, who else? Who's the other one they got? They've got another one as well. Kulusevski. So, I mean, those 4 are the 4 that are going to play. And then you've got this guy coming in, and they're literally just playing league games. I just think it's weird. Genuinely, I just think it's a weird signing. I don't see the point.
They've still got the FA Cup. So I was laughing at Red Steve's comments, but I can't put it on the screen. It was quite funny.
The people in the chat know what he's chatting about.
Yes.
Yeah.
So go for the rest of the sort of league. Arsenal linked with a lad called Zirkzee from Bologna, 50 million. I've generally asked Kev until the picture of him came up on the article. Never heard of him. But again, I'm back to where's the 50 million coming from? Because all the talk is FFP really tight. They need to sell someone like an Nketiah or Reece Nelson to make it pure profit to basically do a big money signing. 50 million is not chump change, so I sort of don't see how that happens.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see from the bits that I know about him, I don't see him being worth 50 million in any way, shape, or form. It's mad. I mean, Darren makes a point there that we have 5 forwards. Yeah, we've also got 4 competitions.
Yes.
And we play a front 3 that rotates. Yeah. So
Spurs have only got 2, but they've got City next. So, that's quite a tough FA Cup tie. Nate points out, Brian Hill, I think, has also left on loan from Spurs. But Ashley points out, Reguilon, I think, is being sent back from Man United.
Sent back from Man United. So you'd assume the Reguilon they'll be looking to find I don't think Spurs are done, by the way. I think Spurs will probably be dipping in to that level of market for the rest of the season, or for the rest of this window, the 20 to 30 million euro range.
With the level of the amount of injuries they've got, they needed more depth anyway. I mean, to us, never a few of us needed more depth in the summer. So some of this is summer work. They probably should have done already. As Red Steve points out, Arsenal couldn't afford to buy Raya outright because he's on loan with by the next summer, isn't it? So yeah, and as Kevin Ball points out, 65 million for Havertz may not have been the wisest of moves, possibly not. Smith Rowe could go.
Told him that.
Yeah, I mean, Smith Rowe gets sold. That would be pure profit. He would go for a DC, but again, I don't know who's coming in for him. Not that this is not me saying Smith Rowe is a bad player. Who's coming in for him, and who's going to come in for a fee that would tempt Arsenal? Because Arsenal want 40+ million for him comfortably.
Yeah, this is the thing you've got to look at. It's where Chelsea used to use their academy
Very
to
good.
fund everything. You know, they were very good at it for a good period of time, where they would sell their homegrown players and use that space that they create on the transfer on the balance sheets to be able to go out and splurge every once in a while, you know, and bring in big players. And that's all well and good, but the buyers that were there for those type of players aren't there now, because they're struggling under their own cap. You know, we see what happened with Everton, and there's talk at Everton that Leon want Danjuma on loan. They've agreed with, I think it's Valencia or Villarreal.
Yeah, Villarreal.
That's Villarreal. They've agreed a loan deal with Villarreal for the second half of the season, but they need Everton to cancel the current loan that he's on from Villarreal to be able to allow this one to go ahead. But Everton have an injury crisis at the minute, and they need him around.
Yeah,
you know, so it's one of them. I wait and see what happens, because I think that one will happen towards the end of the window. You know,
I think the end of the window we might see a bit more, partly because people get desperate and, you know, injury crisis and you know, so goes to bad for a fall. But I think
we could be in that boat. You don't know.
We could be in that boat, yeah. But the likes of your Forests of the world, although it was rumoured, but we'll see, and we'll come to Newcastle. Like Foresters are due to find out if their FFP investigation says they've broken a rule or not. If they haven't, then they can probably go and buy. If they have, then they're going to have to play smart.
I don't think Forest can afford it. I think Forest have front loaded so much of their spending last summer, last January, and the summer that just happened. You know, the summer before, you know, it's from the first summer they came up, the January and the next summer. They've literally rebuilt the club from scratch. And they don't have that much income. They went out and paid big money for, I think, what was your man, the number 10? His name always escapes me. Decent player. But they paid 30+ million for him, you know? And Elanga is another one they brought in for, wasn't cheap.
I don't think his fee was. I don't remember his fee being extortionate. I'll let you Google it. I've got 12 million here, but I couldn't make that up. Nate's asking, you can only pick one player from Everton, Braithwaite or Onana. Who one are you picking? I'm having Braithwaite.
All day long.
Who would you have? That was a good player, but I just think Braithwaite just looks brilliant. Gibbs White. A few saying Gibbs
White. That's the kid.
He was a big fee. Gibbs White was about 40+ million, I think. I feel like Elanga was about 12. I feel like Elanga felt like it felt like a bit of a snip. It also was one of those deals that Johnny turned the Forest. I was like, I didn't even know he was there. But I don't remember the Elanga one being a big money deal. But Gibbs White was big money.
For Nottingham Forest, it was. You know what I mean? For them, it was. And I'm just looking here. And Anthony Elanga, 17.5 million euro. Chris Wood, 17 million. Andrew Amabamadele, 12.5. Morello, 12. Nicholas Dominguez, 10. But that looks to me like one that they could flip and do well. Matt Turner, they paid 8 million for. 8 million euro. These fees are in euros, by the way. You know, and they've a total spend of 122 million euro.
So about
that's
110
and that's
million.
Since June 30th, 2023.
Big money.
That's big money for a club like Nottingham Forest, who don't have the gate receipts, who don't have the sponsorship money that you know most clubs have, and they don't have the international sales, you know, shirt sales and what have you, that most other clubs have. So this is what I mean. This is why I think an awful lot of clubs in the Premier League got really spooked by the case of Everton, and now everyone is sat there being really mindful about what they spend and where they spend it, and making mistakes.
But it also puts pressure on. The Premier League / FA, because it's also like, well, listen, you can't just do Everton, because we can't be the only one, and we can't. You can't be looking just to let them do that.
Yeah, they have to be consistent on it.
Yeah. So details in the description below. We've also got. We're still do stuff with football prizes. So they've still got a deal on, which is on until the 15th of
15th.
January, which is they've got 149 tickets to sell, $3.95 a ticket, and it's to win a signed and framed Liverpool shirt, and it's of Luis Diaz. So bargain that, and look, you buy as many tickets as you want. So details in the description below. So if you want a chance to win a signed Luis Diaz shirt, get on it, because you've got until Monday to get it done before the tickets go. And in terms of our fundraiser for this year, so we're looking to raise €10 million. And what we're going to do is, once we get to the match, 10 million, 10,000, 10 million. You can do 10 million.
You give Gav a stroke.
So I was looking at my city accountancy, sorry.
Let's see who in the chat is awake. Who in the chat is awake still?
No one's tweaked on that one either. Well, the €10,000, sorry. I'll start again. And the idea is we're going to split it. We're going to give €5,000 to fan supporting food banks in Liverpool City Centre, and then the other 5K will go to the Lighthouse in Dublin. So fan supporting food banks, they're outside the grounds at every Liverpool and Everton men's games and the women's games. We all obviously donate what we can to them, because unfortunately, whether you're in Ireland or the UK, both governments are shite, and this day and age people shouldn't be going hungry. And the Lighthouse is it's a cafe, isn't it, in Dublin, Kev, and it helps feed the homeless. So they just need that money to keep it going for longer, and then see how it goes from there.
Yeah, it's literally the Lighthouse. I think most major cities have one. In Cork, it's a place called Penny Dinners. The Lighthouse in Dublin is literally a place where people can go if they're struggling to make ends meet, and they will provide you with a hot meal and help you access other services as well. They're there to help people, and that's all if we can help them, then the more we can do, the better.
Yeah. So listen, you've done for all the details are in the description below. If you can
we've broken 1,000. We've broken €1,000. We're sat at the minute on €1,050. So we're just over 10% of the target done already, and we're halfway through January. So you guys are smashing it. It's brilliant. Well done.
So listen, if you can give, please give. We know times are tough. If you can't give, just share it. WhatsApp groups, social media, all that good stuff. Bebo, if it's still going. One of the kids there. Remember that?
Check MySpace.
Check MySpace. And MSN Messenger. Remember the old MSN Messenger?
Oh,
so yeah, send it in all them, or perhaps try modern stuff like WhatsApp and Twitter and LinkedIn. LinkedIn's still a thing. Try and all them.
I don't know, mate.
I'll tell you. So I'll follow it today. So let's go back. So let's talk about the two other people. So we've got Man United, who have sent lads out on loan. So Sancho, they finally got a loan with most of his wages being covered, and they'll get more money if Dortmund win anything, which seems unlikely. They sent Reguilon back. They want to get rid of Martial, who's now said, "Thanks very much, lads, but I'll stay to the end of the season. I'll keep my money." So, which is his prerogative. They're still in a bit of a. I think getting those guys out means they'll probably have to bring somebody in on loan, because they've freed a lot of wages. I don't think they'll be bringing anybody in for a biggish fee, because I don't think they can. But an article broke today, I think the Daily Telegraph broke that. I think it might have been in Times as well, that says Newcastle will have to sell one of their big stars. And in the article, it highlights either Grameres, Isak, Botman, and then it also mentions Sean Longstaff because of the homegrown FFP element.
Yeah.
To balance the books to be in line with FFP, and I love the line where he goes, despite having the richest owners in the world, I was like, I know, but you got to play by the rules, lads. Because Newcastle have announced, I think it's losses of 150 million for the last 2 years. Now that doesn't include, obviously, this season, as you rightly point out to me, Kev, they'll have a lot of the Champions League money coming this year, which will be a big help, in their rolling 3-year average. But they're in that boat where look like Newcastle can sell a big boy, which it's not. I know they don't like it. And I know people are saying it's to protect the elite, the usual lines that come out. But Newcastle aren't the first side that will have to sell a big player to rebuild. I mean, Liverpool literally did it with Coutinho. Sold him for big money, and he was the star player at the time. and invested it wisely. That's what they're going to have to do. I mean,
yeah. I mean, look, even back in the day, mate, Manchester United had to do it. Manchester United did it with Ronaldo. They did it with Jaap Stam. They did it with David Beckham. I don't care what size club you are. You cannot go out and buy all the sweets in the sweet shop. You can't have all the toys in the toy shop. Those days are rightfully gone. If it's a case that Newcastle, like you talk about Coutinho, we did it with Suarez. We did it with Sterling. And back forever.
Still got 9 million to go now.
Yeah, it's like we've had to cut our cloth and plan properly. Newcastle did really well to get where they've got to, from fighting relegation to getting into the Champions League. They got into the Champions League by default because, look, ourselves and Chelsea were well off the boil last year. So, but they took advantage of it and they got in there. But to sustain that, you have to have sustained Champions League income. And in the Premier League at the moment, unlike previous years where the top four was just set in stone, you couldn't even go into a bookies at the start of the season years gone by. And I want to put a bet on for who's going to finish in the top four and walk out with anything looking anything close to being decent odds. It's a wide open race outside of generally your top one or two. Any six will be for any six clubs outside of your top two, outside of Liverpool and Man City. I think you're looking at any six for two positions in more seasons now. And it's a straight shootout. It's a straight fight and anything can happen. So clubs haven't got the ability to go out and spend willy-nilly on players knowing that they've got the guaranteed Champions League money. Basically do a Leeds, bet the house and the mortgage and the holiday home and the kids' college fund.
Well, Paul's the same, don't they?
Yeah, on guaranteeing European football. So, yeah, Newcastle are going to have to sell to buy, but welcome to the real world. This is what most clubs do on a regular, and that's what they'll have to do.
Breaking news from John here. Man United turned down a £150 million sponsorship deal from dog food production company. Similarly, win a lot wouldn't be appropriate for the jerseys. I've robbed this from somewhere else.
It is good. It is good.
It's good. So,
but yeah, no, Newcastle are going to have to sell. But again, they're going to have buyers out there for these players they want to sell for big money because they're bought for big money.
But again, who's got the one who's willing in January, or maybe it could be the summer. He's going to pay it. Guimaraes has got a release clause of 99 million, so he's not cheap.
If you believe what's in the papers,
yeah. Isak wouldn't go cheap because he bought him a year ago? So
they paid north of 62 million for him.
And he'd be on a long contract. He'd be on a minimum 5-year contract because he would at his age, and he's brilliant, really, really good.
So to turn over a profit on someone like him is going to be difficult, and that profit isn't going to be enough to justify selling him. Yeah. Same with Sven Botman. Botman's come in as a really good season. He looks a really good defender.
Yeah,
bit injury prone, but he's a big unit. And if you go to sell him, fine. You bought him for big money. How much are you going to make on top of that to justify selling him and replacing him? So that's why I think they have to look at the homegrown players that they have. The likes of Miley.
Yes,
the likes of Longstaff.
37 euro he was. 37 million euros.
37 million.
So
yeah,
even if he said like comfortable at 50, that's not a big profit on him, which is going to help.
That's not a massive profit, and you go and replace him and replace the standard that he's at and be better, really, because
which is why Sean Longstaff feels like the obvious one to sell. Local lad, he's pure profit, but I don't know what fee you get for him or where he'd go. I mean, also, was it 2-3 years ago he was linked to Old Trafford for big money?
Yeah, but this is where you got to look at what Spurs are looking at doing. Look what Spurs are looking at doing, yeah, with playing in the 20 to 30 million euro bracket with the odd big spend. Like, I think Brendan Johnson was a big gamble.
51.
Richarlison was a big gamble, but in general, if they start playing,
you do tend to gamble big though, the top end of the pitch.
Yeah, but if you start playing at the 20, 30 million euro or £1 million mark, and you can, like, Van de Ven looks a decent player. He looks a good buy. Porro he's looking like a good buy. The kid who's playing, was it Udogie, the left wing back? He looks like a bargain, and the keeper looks like a proper player. So in all fairness,
they finally
this is what Newcastle need to be doing. Stay away from the 50, 60, 70 million pound signings and start looking at the market where you're going to add value down the line, and you're adding depth to your squad, because that's what's been exposed in the biggest possible way by this season, is their serious lack of depth that they can't cope with. I mean, yeah, they've probably had a few more injuries than normal, but in general, most sides have 6-8 injuries over the first half of the season that you just cope with, and Newcastle just can't cope with it. They can't sustain what they need to do, and they have to be getting consistent Champions League football if they want to elevate their spending, and they're just not doing it at the minute.
I know. And then into any other, I think that's it. That's it.
It's bloody quiet.
It's very quiet. I mean, I think if Liverpool do anything, it'll be late in the window. I'm thinking it'll be max one. I don't really see any more than one.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that stuff depends on how desperate other clubs get. It'll depend on Lisbon. I mean, all the talk, the noise at the start of the window was the kiddie from Lisbon, the centre back. And in fairness, I don't think Lisbon are going to be pushed to sell him, because they know that value is going to be there in the summer. So
because like the Dier situation was, Benfica had to sell it because they needed it for they had an FFP problem because they hadn't got to.
And Spurs were banging on the door.
And again, Gakpo, if you according to Pep Linders, Gakpo was a summer target, but because Man United was sniffing around, Liverpool took advantage of it. So it might be something. If that lad from Sporting is the target, and Liverpool have sort of said, we're going to give him another year and we'll get him in this summer because we want to see how he develops. If Spurs, United, Chelsea go sniffing around them, and that's the one Klopp really wants, then I think you might see the club react then going, well, we actually want it. I mean, listen, the Diaz one was great because we got Spurs to do all the hard work. They got the deal sorted, got the price agreed, and Liverpool went, we'll match that. Thanks very much. Cheers. Off we go.
Yeah. A couple of other ones a couple of other ones last night that came in the news. Conor Gallagher at Chelsea. Spurs looking at it. See, Spurs got the Harry Kane money, who was pure profit, burning a hole in their pocket, so they can't spend. Is Conor Gallagher? I mean, Conor Gallagher's 20. He feels like he's been around for a long time. He's 23. Would he suit Spurs? And he'd help fix a lot of Chelsea's problems on the books.
I think he suits Spurs because of his energy, and I think that's what they need. I think they want more mobility and energy in the central midfield. And unfortunately for them, Bentancur, different player, but Bentancur keeps picking up injuries. And he's a really good player. So I think they need that depth. I think what the likes of the Spurs and all the other clubs should do with Chelsea is just not buy any of their players. And if you want to stop Chelsea doing what they did, which is inflate the market and do what they're doing, don't buy their players. If you don't buy their players, they're knackered. Because they literally now are so delicately poised, they're desperate to sell something. So either you'll get someone like Conor Gallagher even cheaper than they want to, or give it 6 months. They'll probably be in trouble with the Premier League. You'll get it 10 times cheaper because they'll need to sell it for desperation. That's the way you stop something like Chelsea.
David Ornstein's just broken there. Burnley have reached agreement in principle with Chelsea over the loan deal for David Fofana. He was a striker that they brought in, I think, he's an Ivory Coast striker that they brought in from Denmark. 21 years of age. Striker. He hasn't played much, but Apparently, he'll fly in tomorrow, undergo a medical in the next 48 hours ahead of a proposed loan move from Chelsea to Burnley. That could be a really good deal for Burnley.
Is he at the AFCON at the moment? Has he been selected or not?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
I think he was away on loan elsewhere. And Chelsea cancelled that loan for him and brought him back.
If they get it done quickly enough, I don't want to get it done quickly enough. I think Burnley play tomorrow. They've got Luton tomorrow. They've got a massive game tomorrow against Luton.
Well, he was on loan at Union Berlin. And they've brought him back in.
Yeah.
So, you know,
they do need more goals on that side anyway.
Oh yeah, 100%. The only fantasy football stuff that I've really seen last night was Real Madrid assessing the prospect of signing Man City and Norway striker Erling Haaland, 23, because of concerns about whether France forward Kylian Mbappe, 25, will leave PSG to join them. What do you think of that?
Well, we did say when he signed for City, literally within a couple of days of him signing, it came out that he had this release clause in his contract, and it was going to be this summer. It was going to be active, which just felt like a plan. It was setting themselves up for it. So, do
you think that's a goer? Do you think that's a possibility? Genuinely,
if it's a release clause, yeah, maybe less hassle.
I think he'd be definitely less aggro than what Mbappe will be.
Yeah, because to be fair, when I've seen Haaland get interviewed, do you know what? I think he's quite good when he's interviewed. You know, I think he's quite funny.
Comes across a really level-headed.
He's so direct that he's hilarious. You know.
Yeah,
like
despite who he plays for, he comes across a really likable guy. You know,
I think he'd be no hassle. I think with Haaland, wherever he goes, he'll score goals. And that's going to, I suppose Mbappe probably would sell more shirts, and probably it would be better.
Olivier's right. Olivier's making the point. Haaland rumor is smokescreen to put pressure on the Mbappe camp. I mean, the thing is, the speculation around Mbappe has always been there from the day he really turned up at PSG. That it was okay. We're going to be at PSG for a while, and then he'll go to Real Madrid. You know, like Tchouaméni before him, like Camavinga. He wants to follow Zidane and all this other nonsense. And he's 20. Kylian Mbappe is 25 years of age, and he's still at PSG.
Is it 7 or 8 years been there now?
Messing about with his career. Yeah, he's messing about with his career. You know, he'll blink and he'll be 28. You know, wondering what the hell's going on. You know, if he wants to be taken seriously as being the best player in the world, then you got to go and play in the best league in the world. You know, I've seen nonsense this January because the transfer window is quiet and people are talking about the best, you know, who are the best strikers in the world, who are the best forwards, and people are throwing out Cristiano Ronaldo because of the volume of goals he scored in the Farmers League.
Yeah,
cut yourselves on, like, you know, the figures that that Ronaldo and Messi are chucking up now. It's a nonsense. You should be, yeah. And at the end of the day, Kylian Mbappe needs to leave PSG and go and achieve something in a proper league. You know, and go and play in La Liga. It's a proper league. You know, go and do it in Europe, and you know, be seen as one of the best players in the world. At the moment, I'm not having it. I'm not having Kylian Mbappe as one of the best players in the world. He can't be. He just can't be because he just doesn't do it at a high level consistently enough. And until he does it either in the Premier League or in La Liga, then you can't judge him. It's really impossible to judge him on any other standards. You look at Robert Lewandowski, he's gone to Barcelona from Bayern. At Bayern, he was ripping it up left, right, and centre, scoring record amount of goals. Yeah, he's a year older going to Barcelona, but he's not the same player. And it's telling he's not the same player. You know? And we've seen the Premier League find out some of the best so-called strikers in the world when they come and they try it in the Premier League. And they always get found out. You know, when you've had a really good reputation, the likes of you go back in the day, Shevchenko, Crespo, who else? Henry's the exception. Zola came and did well, but you're going back into
Booty.
good, yeah. Another one came with a massive reputation. Alfonso Salas,
Yes,
went to Middlesbrough, scored 48 goals in the Dutch league, couldn't hit a barn door over here.
The best. I only because I love his name. The guy who went to Norwich. He scored loads of goals in Holland as well. Ricky van Wolfswinkel. The best surname ever.
Van Wolfswinkel ended up going to Portugal, and he did okay in Portugal. Couldn't do it in the Premier League. It was ridiculous. The list of quality players that get found out in this league is no odds to no one. And I think if you can do it in this league on a consistent level, at a consistent basis, then you can be talked about as being Alfonso Alves. That's it.
Alfonso Alves, that's him. He was horrendous.
Matthias Kesman, another one, came with a huge reputation. Paul Giovanni's talking about Arjen Robben. Arjen Robben is a fabulous footballer at Bayern Munich. At Chelsea, he was Eden Hazard. Always injured.
Morientes for us.
Morientes was done, in fairness. Morientes was done by the time we got him. We got him too late. When Raul went from Real Madrid to Schalke.
Yeah.
He looked like he was having fun in games. You actually, Drizzle saying that Crespo and Shevchenko were all. Go and have a look. I'm telling you, they weren't. They weren't as old as what you think. Honestly.
Yeah.
Ramadal Falcao,
Shevchenko's only 2 years off. 2 years. I think he missed the Champions. He missed the goal in the Champions League final against us.
Yeah.
I think that summer or the following summer he came to us, and he was like close to his peak.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, I would love it for the sake of the league.
Right? God, do you remember this guy for Hull? Jan Vennegoor of Hesselen.
Oh, yeah.
What a name. What a name.
He was a Celtic. And can you imagine
he had
being the parent?
He had the whole name at the back of his shirt. They had to put it in the mini print. It was brilliant.
Could you imagine being the parent of that child who's like, he's my favourite player. I really want Father Christmas to bring me that jersey with his name on it.
Back then, that's when you used to pay per letter.
I know. Yeah, it's mental. And, I mean, look, I would love it for the league if someone signed Kylian Mbappe. I'd love it because I'd love to watch him.
Not City.
No, I don't care because we only play City twice in the season.
They always get everyone. So can we just have someone that?
I'd love someone to sign him, and I'd love to see if he's as good as he thinks he is, and is he as good as he potentially could be? Because if he is, I'd love to be able to watch him week in, week out. Just as a football fan, to just watch players like that. I mean, you always hear Neville and Carragher and Sky and TNT say, it's the best league in the world. We have the best players. Do we, though? Do we have the best coaches?
We have some
of the best players. I think we have some of the best players.
I think we have the best. I think we have the best coaches.
We have the best coaches by a distance. So, look, I mean, it's been an interesting chat. It's been an interesting chat about it.
But the good thing about this season is, for the first time in a long time, I think City have dipped from their normal level for the first 6 months. Not horrendously, just a bit. Arsenal, I don't think are as quite as strong as they were last year. But I think Liverpool have dramatically improved from last year. Spurs have. And Villa have. And Brighton have. I think plenty of teams and West Ham have maintained that level. Where now you are going where every away game now you're going, last year you'd have gone like, oh, ball point, you should just win that. There's no excuse not to win this. When you do lose it, it looks horrendous. Where now there aren't many away games now where you're looking going, oh, that's a gimme most now. You're going, Jesus Christ.
There's some.
That's
I don't know
every
if
play.
I was,
I think every club's got someone where you go, yeah, but those two are a nightmare. Get past them two, you're okay. Unless you go to apart from when you're playing likes of City or Arsenal, you go, it's like them four you've got to keep an eye on. But most clubs have got two where you go, them two are a nightmare.
Well, you've seen it last night with Fulham. You know, you have Palhinha in the middle of the park, Robinson a flying left back, Willian a clever forward, Bobby Reid will give any fullback a game, and Raul Jimenez has been around the block and he knows his game inside out.
And to be fair,
Bert Leno on goal, former German international.
Leno's a decent keeper. He was really good last night.
And Fulham are at best mid-table.
Yeah,
you know. So look, I mean, I still think the second half of the transfer window could get interesting. I think everything is looking like it needs one move somewhere to happen to trigger two or three others and just move players around. But last January, Chelsea spoofed the market the total spend for January last year was £815 million. Right now, Chelsea accounted for nearly half of that. But I think the record January transfer spend before that for the league was about £430 million off the top of my head. So January is traditionally, you might get one or two deals in and around the 35, 40, maybe £50 million mark. One or two, but that's generally it. The rest of the moves tend to be loans, small transfers, £8 to £10 million with players, sides who are at the bottom half of the league, looking for that one thing to try to get them out of trouble. And I think that's what you could see towards the second half of the window.
Agree. Right, well, we've done nearly an hour, Kev, on a January transfer window, which has done nothing, which I think is quite an achievement.
And thanks to everyone in the chat for sticking with us as well, because you guys are like the reason why we're doing it. Ashley was the one who wanted it tonight, so
yeah. This has been hard. The 2-1 dead rubber where we managed to get an hour out of that. We're like, wow, I don't care.
But hang on one sec. Ashley made a point there. Actually, Brighton are always ones to watch. Yeah, bearing in mind, Brighton are very cash rich. You know, and there's been a bit of gossip around Evan Ferguson possibly being a target of Chelsea. So
who is it? Who is a target of Chelsea? Brighton become the new Southampton. Joe, we were like, we just bought everyone from Southampton. Chelsea's doing the same with Brighton.
Well, Dante made a point here. It's just into the stream. Thanks for joining me. Wanted to ask if you've seen the signing of Barco to Brighton. Absolute talent, 18 years of age, playing in the Libertadores final, which
we could have.
Yeah, I don't know if we can, because I see that a lot with people who say that, you know, we should be in the loop for these players that Brighton are going for, and I'm like, okay, hang on.
I don't think we're patient enough for them.
Right, but Brighton develop these players and can gamble. When you're in the top half of the Premier League and you're looking to try to get into the Europa League or into the Europa Conference League, you can take a gamble on an 18-year-old, 20-year-old. And if it works, great, you flip them and you make a massive profit. But you're not trying to chalk up 90-plus points and compete on four fronts where you can't have a standard of player on your bench dropping. So it's a different market. We're different clubs entirely. But
if you look at this
for Brighton, he could be a real gem, especially if they plan if there's something in the pipeline down the road, maybe in the summer for Estupiñán. It could be future planning for Estupiñán. So watch and wait and see what happens.
Well, if you look at us this season, this season Jones has been excellent, and Harvey Elliott's really come to the forefront. They both look proper first team options now, proper first team players. But Kev, you've moved on the last two, three years of post-match shows. Those two boys have had some pelters because they're making mistakes, because they're not quite at the level you want them to be, because the young kids are developing. And that's kind of like, it's whether you're willing to be patient. Because for every Jones and Elliott, which look like they're both going to work out, at the moment there's the likes of a Carvalho who doesn't. And it's whether you can. It's whether you're willing to. How many projects you're willing
I
to work
think
on.
Vic Mackey makes the point there. We should be targeting an Estupiñán as a future left back. I think for us to target Estupiñán, you're selling Robertson, and
yeah, he's a first choice, isn't he?
He's a first choice left back, and he's coming. He'll be wherever he goes. If he decides to leave Brighton, wherever he goes, he'll be going to start and going to play. You know, playing week in, week out, and being the main first choice left back. And I think if we're planning on a future without Andy Robertson, then absolutely, I'd rather be in the conversation for Alphonso Davies myself over Estupiñán, and that would only be in the case if you're selling an Andy Robertson. And
yeah, that's the conversation. Yeah, well, that's the conversation. Look at how is if you're going to freshen up the left back situation, are you looking to replace Robbo with a starter, or are you looking to replace Tsimikas with a similar level backup? You can make an argument for either one works for you. To be honest, I mean,
yeah, exactly.
The question, but neither seem likely at the moment because I think Robson's still got a few more years left in tank. And to be fair to Tsimikas,
he's done okay when he's come in.
He's done okay, and he's just signed a new contract. So,
and you know the bonus about the bonus for me about having a player like Costas in your squad, he's happy being in the squad. He doesn't kick up the fuss. He knows his role within the squad, and he's comfortable and happy doing it. And I think you look at other clubs where that's a problem, and you see it really.
You don't want too many that you don't want too many who are content being a backup, but you do need some that sort of just know they're the backup and they can do their own. I mean, Divock was all right as a backup because he knew he was a backup, but when he came and he had his impact when he needed to.
Yeah,
you have to have whoever. If you sign a right-sided winger now, they know they're the backup to Mo Salah. Whereas any other position, you kind of know you've got an opportunity to play quite regularly, which is why the likes of Jotas and Gakpos and Núñez won't want to sit on the bench very long because they're like, there's two positions that they can both play. I do think with most right-sided is the only time where you go, yeah, I'm back up to Mo. Why? Well, because it's Mo. A bit like Kellen. Well, I think Kellen knows he's back up because
finish on this one. In the next 6 months, how many contract extensions do you expect to happen in the next 6 months?
What's the thing? 1, 2, 3. Let's go through the squad. 5, 6.
There's 6 contract extensions to do.
6, I think we do. So I think we try to do Salah, Van Dijk, and Trent because they're all. I think they're all due soon, so they have to be done. I think you do it. I think you do a deal with Ali. Performance, what he gives you, just nail him down. I think Jones is due soon as well, so Jones probably has to get done. And then the other one I might look at, because I don't know when he's due, but I think it's also reward for how they're playing is Joe. I think Joe might be looking to get some sort of extension.
Joe could do, yeah.
Because I think if he can stay this Joe and this Joe fit, I kind of just feel someone who can play left back, right back, centre back, has that pace, does his job, but also, if you give him a run and he's really good, we're at the point now with Joe where we're a bit like, Joe's playing and goes, yeah, okay. Whereas go back 6-7 months, Gomez, but we all like, which Gomez turns up? Is it the 8 out of 10 Joe Gomez or the 2 out of 10 Joe Gomez? So I think they're the ones, because I think going for the rest of the midfield, they're all on longish contracts now, with the exception of Thiago, who I don't expect to be renewed. I don't expect Thiago to get renewed. Matip is the one that's a bit of a woolly one, because I wonder if there was a deal set up for him to be renewed, like a rolling 1-year contract before he did his knee. Yeah, I mean, if you put Klopp, we're talking playing stuff, but yeah,
100%.
Klopp's the big one. 100%. Klopp's the big one with love, but in terms of playing stuff, I do wonder if Matip, actually thinking about it, so maybe 7 gets an extension.
The Matip one is interesting because I don't think you see Joel Matip until October.
But I think it'd be more of a human decision than a footballing decision. Where it's like it could even just be Joe Joel, we'll give you a 1 year extension. It will be reduced terms. Let's be honest, it will be on pittance to get yourself fit. We'll use your second half of next season, and then you can go next season, rather than it being like, because who's going to sign Joel Matip in the summer with a broken ACL? No.
It'll definitely be one in the summer that I'm sure we're all going to come back to 100%.
Yeah,
we're all going to come back to this 100%.
I do wonder if he'd not got his ACL. I had a sneaky feeling he might have got a 1 year extension on
because in fairness, up until his injury, he was playing okay. He was playing well.
He was. Well, he was keeping Konate outside.
Yeah.
So
right.
On that happy note,
you ready?
Should we go home?
Go
to bed.
Well,
go to bed. It's late now.
I'm gonna go and see herself for a bit because she's not long home. So.
Oh, bless.
Gonna go and there's actually a film we were. Do you know what? She recorded a film last night, and I want to sit down and watch it.
Is it a good one?
It's a film called what is it? Oh, Defense.
Oh, okay.
Right. It was on Channel 4. It's on Channel 4 player now, whatever Channel 4's player is. But it was set in Bristol in the 80s. And it was made in 2023, but it's like all 80s music, and it's proper council estate type film. And the areas that they filmed it in is the areas that we lived in Bristol. So I want to sit down and watch that. I'm kind of looking forward to going and sit that.
Yeah,
Rod is asking if we missed anything. Yeah, Rod, listen, we've had a whisper that we're signing Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. and Virgil is extending until 2042.
Oh, and Valverde. Don't forget Valverde. We're getting him as well. I'll go to town. If that even was true, I'd go to town on that. I'll be so happy. He's such a brilliant player. He's never leaving Real Madrid ever, sadly. Fool Me Once on Netflix. That's quite good. Just finished watching that. That's a good 8-part series.
I'm one episode in on that.
As you say, we've missed off nothing earth-shattering, but Chris is raising $10 million for charity. Yes, 10,000. Sorry, slip of the tongue. I tell you, did I let you forget? Did
right.
On that happy note, thanks for watching.
Thanks
please
for everyone.
Like, please subscribe. Yeah, please become a member if you want to become a member. You get to see more of me and Kev. $3.99 a month. We do some exclusive member shows, including Gav's half-hour chats every morning, which are very, very funny. And
this morning got lively. This morning was lively. Myself and Gav had a bit of a set 2 on recycling. Just go and check it out.
Oh, did you? Oh, I missed all this because I had to go back into work, so I missed this. So I'll have to watch that later. Cool. Yeah. Right, on a happy note, thanks for watching. It's Thursday now. We'll be back on Sunday for the Fatback 4. Until then, speak soon.